Sometimes a story is just a story, but more often than not, they are a lesson cloaked in entertainment. The stories I share here are definitely the latter. Some are fact, some are fiction, all are beneficial. Hello, my name is Earl Breon, and you are listening to the Leadership Chronicles. Today's story is titled 12th Episode Intro. Hello everyone, your host here with a brief introduction to who I am, why you should listen, how to get the most value out of each episode from this past season, and why I waited till the end of the season for my introduction. First, who am I? Well, by now you probably know my name is Earl Breon. I'm a former active duty United States Marine who served back in the late 90s into early 2000. After exiting the Marine Corps, I went to work for the federal government. Now, ethics rules keep me from saying much more than that. And yes, federal employees do actually care about ethics. Also, unfortunately, that means that the people I've worked with through the years can't give me references, since this was conducted as part of my job, on taxpayer dollar money. And that's why I started this podcast, to give you a little insight about me and my methods. Although sharing stories is just one part of my overall coaching, mentoring strategy. Anyway, for my time as a Marine and through my federal service, I've spent the last 20 plus years of my life in various leadership and management roles. I've spent pretty close to that same amount of time teaching, coaching, and mentoring on leadership development. I do not coach on business or entrepreneurship, although the leadership advice I give you will make you better at both. And yes, this advice translates outside of federal circles into the private sector because it is based in basic human understanding, team building techniques, and interpersonal skill enhancement that have been proven to be universally applicable for over 2.5 millennia. So, how do I want you to use these podcast episodes right now to grow your leadership? Well, each episode shares a story with a leadership lesson embedded in it. Some of these stories have many variations to them. You've probably heard some of them already, but the details of the story aren't as important as the lessons that they point to. After the story, I highlight that lesson and provide you with some growth questions. And here is where the value kicks in. I want you to honestly answer those questions, and if you feel comfortable doing so, reach out on social media and share your answers or ask questions of your own. For this type of discussion, the best place would be my Facebook page, facebook.com/layman leadership, all one word. Again, that's facebook.com/layman leadership, all one word. But you can reach out to me on Twitter. I have 2 Twitter handles I use, one for the show, @LeaderChron, and my personal one, @Earl_Breon. Also, if those channels won't work for you and you have a personal story or a personal question to ask, email me at podcast@earlbreon.com. That's podcast@EARLBREON.com. Now, this is a relatively new project, so if you hit those channels, don't be afraid to be the one that starts the conversation. Also, if you follow and like those channels, I share great content from some people who I consider to be mentors and colleagues, such as Dov Barron. He has a slew of accolades that would take too long to list out right now, but he is the host of the #1 podcast for Fortune 500 executives. So, I'm just going to summarize him by saying he is one of the leading minds in insightful, thoughtful, yet raw and gritty leadership. Jim Bouchard, known as the Sensei Leader for his background in martial arts, he is an accomplished speaker in his own right and does some great blogging work on leadership development. He also hosts the Walking the Walk podcast, where he's had some great guests on there as well. And Richard Ryerson. Richard hosts the Dose of Leadership podcast, and he's had some truly amazing guests over his podcast run. And he's also a Marine Corps veteran himself. So just do me a favor, get on there, and let's get the discussion going because I want to help you grow as a leader. Some of the stuff we discuss and share would cost you hundreds of dollars an hour in fees. But here, we'll cover some of it for absolutely free. All you have to do is be willing to engage, stow your ego, and be open to change. Finally, why did I wait until the end of Season 1 to post this intro? Well, I wanted to have some content to fall back on and point you to. You see, this is my first podcast endeavor in the public sector, and there's a little bit of a learning curve that I needed to master. But I wanted you to have some stories to fall back on, review, and get a community going for Season 2. So go through these 11 episodes that I've already shared, get engaged, and let's have that discussion going. When I come back for Season 2, I'll have 11 or 12 new stories to share, and hopefully some of those come from you. So if you have any that you'd like to see featured, send me an email. Again, use podcast@earlbreon.com. All right, I want to thank you all for a wonderful first season and for bearing with me through my growing pains. And I look forward to getting Season 2 rolling probably in early spring 2018. I appreciate you all, and I'm out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Leadership Chronicles. To continue the discussion, find me on Twitter at Earl_Breon, Facebook at facebook.com/layman leadership, all one word, or email me at podcast@earlbreon.com.